I don't know what the hell I just watched. I know that I enjoyed it whilst it was on, but I have no idea what the hell any of it means. This is going to make for an interesting review because I'm supposed to break stuff down slightly, but not entirely sure how I'm going to do that. So this is the latest movie by Brandon Cronenberg. I haven't seen any of his previous work. This is my first time watching one of his movies, but I am now incredibly interested. It stars Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. A bunch of other people too that I haven't seen in anything else. I don't think those are the two main standout names. And the gist of the plot really is that a bunch of couples meet up on a retreat, mainly two. The movie focuses on two: Alexander Skarsgård's character James and his wife Em, as well as Mia Goth and her husband too. And from there, shenanigans ensue. You see this in the trailer. They're out having a good time one night, hanging out, and then a man gets run over by a car, and he sort of is no longer alive or with us. I've got to be careful how I word stuff when I'm talking about horror movies, because if I say certain words, I've discovered that YouTube doesn't like it. So, a man is unalived forcefully by a car, and then this sci-fi element sort of comes in to do with cloning and the fact that when you commit a crime, it's not actually you who gets punished for it. You can have a clone created of you to take the rap and the punishment for the crimes that you do. And that's about as much of a breakdown of the plot as I can give without giving away too much. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say because the movie gets really confusing. I mean, it's not confusing beyond comprehension. Like, you can actually still piece together sort of the gist of what's going on. This is just one of those movies that I think you need to watch 2 or 3 times to really fully understand everything that's going on when it comes to hints at the beginning of the movie that sort of come into play by the end, and sort of understanding the more trippy sequences of this movie, because that's no spoiler either. There are some trippy drug infueled scenes that, if you're epileptic, look away because you will probably have a fit of some kind watching some of the scenes in this movie. And in those scenes, they're going for quite a while, and there's things that are sort of masked behind these different coloured lights, so you can almost kind of piece together what's happening or what might be happening, whether or not these events in these sort of hallucinations have actually happened or if they are just pure hallucinations. That's where the movie gets a little bit confusing at points, because you're not really entirely sure which parts that you're seeing are implied that have actually happened, or if they're just pure fantasy fueled by certain substances. Which I'm sure smarter people than me will be able to piece it all together and understand this movie on the first time around, but I do think I need to watch it again to fully grasp everything that I did just see. I think a lot of the selling point of this movie was the fact that a lot of people have come out of it saying it is disturbing and they're not entirely sure what they've just seen, which I don't really agree that this movie is really that disturbing at all. There's like maybe 10 seconds worth of mildly disturbing imagery that's a little bit weird, but I don't really understand where those people are coming from. I've seen much more messed up movies and even thought of ideas for movies myself that are a lot more messed up than this. So I'm not really sure where those people are coming from. But that being said, I do agree with the what the fuck did I just watch kind of aspect of it, which I have already slightly elaborated on. I will just say as well, I think this is a very, very well shot movie. Some of the shots around the location that the characters are going to, you see sort of like mountains and rocks and beaches. The way it's filmed and the way it's shot, I think it just looks like a beautiful landscape. And as a movie, I think it is shot very well. That's one of my favourite parts of the whole movie, to be honest, just the way that the camera work was handled and the direction of the whole thing as well. I think the acting is pretty great too. Alexander Skarsgård does a good job, but not as good as Mia Goth. I mean, I think that was kind of expected because Mia Goth has sort of become this sort of poster girl for playing unhinged characters in horror movies in the last year and a half or so. And she's very good here as well. Arguably not quite as good as she is in Pearl or X, but still up there. Like, she's still doing what she does best. Alexander Skarsgård does a good job, but he's a little bit more downplayed. He's not quite as unhinged as some of the other characters. There's moments in the movie where he's sort of very quiet and just sort of staring at the ground, and he does that very well, but he doesn't really get a chance in this movie to fully shine and lash out and get fully angry or as crazy or intimidating as, say, Mia Goth does. So he does do a good job, but the standout once again is Mia Goth, because why wouldn't it be? Would just like to quickly backtrack as well, because I have mentioned a couple of times that the movie is sort of weird and sometimes you don't really know what you're staring at. Obviously that's completely intentional. That's not a negative on the movie at all. If anything, that just gives the movie replay value. And I have seen some negative reviews to this movie too, which I do completely understand. Like the IMDb rating is not very high. I think it's at like a 6.1 or 2, something like that. So not extremely high, but the Letterboxd score is a bit more favourable. I think I've got it on the screen there actually, at 3.3 out of 5. So this isn't going to be for everyone, this movie. That's for sure. Like, general moviegoers, if they go and watch this, they're going to come out of it probably absolutely hating it, enjoying the performances probably, but the movie as itself, it could be looked at as, I don't really want to say pretentious, but it is more of sort of an artsy horror thriller movie. I wouldn't even really argue it was a horror movie. It's more of a thriller with sci-fi elements. The general movie-going audience is not going to like this movie for the most part, I don't think, personally. If you're more into movies and how stuff's shot, and you know Mia Goth from Pearl and X, and you just enjoy off-the-wall sort of movies that make you think and almost require you to watch them again to fully understand them, this is right up your alley. You still might not like it, you might think that some of the imagery is a bit too disturbing for you. I saw a couple of reviews mention the masks that are quite prominent in the latter half of the movie, which again isn't a spoiler, that's in the trailer as well. Finding them really disturbing. I thought they were just really cool. Those masks, I liked them. I liked masked things very much. My favourite band is Slipknot, in case you didn't know. So creepy masks, things that I love seeing in movies and in music. But some of the other imagery as well in those more epilepsy-inducing sequences, I can see some people being turned off by that, but if you're a hard nut, then they shouldn't really turn you off too much. You know, you can probably just watch them and still enjoy the movie for what it is. I don't really have too many thoughts about this movie as a whole, to be honest with you. I still wanted to talk about it because I literally just watched it, and I've been wanting to watch it since I saw the trailer for it when that came out, and I just didn't get a chance to because the movie only just came out here. But I don't have anything really negative to say about it either. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen. I wouldn't even argue it's the best movie of the year. It's just a good movie, you know, like for what it is, for what it tries to achieve and what it tries to do and get you thinking, it does its job very effectively in my eyes. So I'm going to rate this now. Later down the line, when I watch it again, I could revisit it and then go more in depth with stuff I missed before. But these are just sort of my first thoughts coming out of the film relatively recently. I am going to be changing my rating system as well. I just want to quickly throw that out there as well, because I've been sort of roped into the whole Letterboxd side of things, and they do stars out of 5 instead of scoring out of 10. So when I put scores up on there, I also kind of want them to match up with the videos. So I'm going to say this is about 3.5 out of 5 stars. That's what I reckon for this. It's not an amazing movie, but it is good. Not going to be for everyone. It was lacking maybe in a couple of elements. I do wish that maybe a couple of the other side characters got a little bit more development, so you can see sort of more of their side of things rather than them just sort of joining in on the mayhem and you don't really know that much about them. But besides that, very solid movie. 3.5 out of 5. What did you guys think of Infinity Pool? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I never ask people to do that, which is a thing that YouTubers do, and I need to get into the habit of asking people to please subscribe, like the video, share it around, and follow me on Letterboxd. I will put the link in the description. See you guys next time. Goodbye.